former Aryan Brotherhood member s.hot in the face while trying to leave g.ang. If you want out of the Aryan Brotherhood, like so many other gangs, you have to be willing to pay the ultimate price. It takes a willingness to say, "Okay, I'm ready to die," said Thomas Engelmann, a former member of the Aryan Brotherhood of Mississippi. It takes that person saying, "Okay, I don't care if I lose my life tomorrow, I want out." Or maybe lose your vision. If an AB member wants out, they might as well just go hang themselves, he said. Engelmann knows. Formerly high-ranking in the ABM, Engelmann had been trying to find a way out for a while when two prospective members, Brett Davis, 29, and Andrew Walters, 27, both of Picayune, were intent on giving him that way, permanently. They followed him, pulled up next to him on I-20 in June 2016 and shot him in the face. The two white faces had stuck out as they circled his predominantly black neighborhood. Assuming they were there to rob him, Engelmann left his house and got behind the men. He ended up with photos of them and of their truck and tag. Then he left, and they fell into traffic behind him. Nobody ever thinks to themselves, "Today I am going to be shot in the face while I drive down the interstate," Engelmann said. His car careened off the road and into the overgrown grass and, unable to see, he was able to slam on the brakes with both feet, narrowly missing a light pole. "I knew I'd been shot, but I didn't know by who," he said. "I knew I was blind, but I didn't know why. My brain wouldn't let me put it together. I was like, why can't I see? And I'm trying to wipe whatever's in my eyes out, and I didn't realize my face is blown up." The first story released by police was that the shooting appeared to be a road rage incident. A few seconds after stopping the car, Engelmann could hear a man's voice telling him to cut off the ignition. He didn't know if the person was his shooter or not, but he decided to take some risks since his life was on the line. He told the man the unlock code to his phone and that he had pictures of his shooters. "I don't know who that person was, even to this day," he said. "That person, no matter what, is an angel in my book." The man asked him if he was praying. He said that he was. "He told me, 'Good, you need to.'" "It's bad," Engelmann said. He found himself praying, not for physical saving, he said, but for forgiveness for not making it out of the criminal lifestyle that had shaped so much of my life. The gang life, for Engelmann, started 2 years after he was taken into the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections on an armed robbery conviction. "I joined because I had a broken home. Most of my family is dead, and I have no siblings. I wanted a family," he said. "Everyone in prison is already attacking everyone, so it's good to have someone who has your back, who can say, 'I know what you're going through, bro.'" According to the Department of Justice, the ABM is the Mississippi branch of the Aryan Brotherhood, the violent, whites-only, prison-based gang with members and associates operating inside and outside of state penal institutions. The ABM has been known to engage in racketeering activities, including murder, attempted murder, kidnapping, assault, money laundering, firearms trafficking, and trafficking in marijuana and methamphetamine, both inside and outside correctional facilities. To be considered for ABM membership, a person must be sponsored and serve a probationary term of at least 6 months. He or she is required to sign a prospect compact, swear an oath of secrecy and declare lifetime allegiance to the ABM. In Engelmann's case, he joined expecting to have to give 15 years of active service in the gang. Because Engelmann had watched the gang operate in prison for 2 years, he thought he had some idea of what he was getting into. Since the ABM works with black gangs and many criminal enterprises, everything. "You can read what you want into that," Engelmann said. He didn't feel like the racist history of the group would be a factor. Assistant Rankin County District Attorney Marty Miller, who handled Engelmann's case, said the gang dynamic in Mississippi is very different than in many other places across the country. Mississippi is completely dysfunctional to the original gang model. In other cities, you'll have gang tags on a building and another gang's tag right across the street, he said. And you don't cross the street, it's very territorial. Here, The Aryan Brotherhood will run with gangster disciples and vice lords if there's money to be made. ABM is frowned upon by some of your West Coast Aryans because of the fraternization with African Americans," said Engelmann. "It's been glamorized, especially in Mississippi. I grew up with truckers and bikers. My mom rode with the banditos sometimes, so prison was kind of a notch in your belt, and AB was kinda glorified. But you join and you are like, oh, s.hot, what did I join?" He didn't realize their promise of 15 years of service and you can leave just wasn't true. "I did my 15 years, and they did not let me out. I knew too much, and I was a source of income. Remember, the Brotherhood is organized crime. Why wouldn't they keep me?" Engelmann said. "That's what that boils down to. It's all about power, drugs and, of course, murder is in there. It's just like racism is on the butt end of it." Engelmann knew a few years before he left prison that he didn't want to stay in the ABM, but at that time he felt he had sold his soul. So he decided to try to make the best of it. "That's on me, but I had an 8-year mandatory prison sentence, so in all honesty, I thought I'd never get out of prison alive," Engelmann said. "So I did what I had to do, I led where I was supposed to lead." He would use that leadership, he said, to try to avoid bloodshed and to keep peace among the gangs. "Nobody can ever say that I was the one who said, 'Let's go to war.' I'd say, 'Hey, that doesn't benefit anybody,' and I'd try to talk it down," he said. When Engelmann got out of prison, he found out the authorities were monitoring ABM meetings.